Joining us now here on the Picks for Polls podcast as we continue our 2024 prospect preview series. We have defensive lineman Jeblonski Green Jr. in the house. He has attended college at South Carolina State. Being a D lineman, I feel like if you don't coach D lineman or if you've ever played D lineman, you easily don't get the credit that you deserve. You can follow him on Twitter at _34LOS. Jeblonski, how's it going? Thanks so much for being on here.
No, I appreciate you for having me on here. It's going good, just training and working out.
I mean, let's get into so first things first, I have to ask about your t-shirt, right? Does it say Cool Vibe Sports on there? Is that the name of the
Yeah.
organization you're training with right now?
Nah, this my agency who I signed with, Cool Vibe Sports.
Nice. So, all right, let's get into it, right? Because you're unique in the sense that, you're kind of an embodiment, right, in terms of journeys to the NFL and the draft, right? In terms of everybody's always going to focus on the guys that played at those Power 5 schools, but really kind of what's happened is through social media and everything, any prospect is able to kind of go out, really any high school or college player can go out and start like marketing themselves, but talk about your journey from high school to South Carolina State. Like, what made it such a good fit that you've been able to grow and basically get your name on the map there?
Just coming out of high school, I had no stars. I only had one offer, which was South Carolina State, but like it was a lot of schools like interested in me. They just really didn't take a chance on me. And when I took the visit to South Carolina State, it just felt like home. The home environment, just everybody around the school, the staff, the football program just felt like one big old family, and that's what I wanted to be a part of. And then once I got there, that's exactly what it was. Everybody just wanted to win, but everybody wanted to do it together. So I was proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's different phases of the game of football, right? And for a lot of people, it's kind of the on-field stuff, right? Like what they see during Saturdays or Thursdays, Sundays, Monday, whatever the case may be. But then there's also instances where it's like a lot of off-the-field stuff happens in terms of team building and community building, being part of a team on the field, but also a team off the field, weightlifting, sessions, film sessions, and all that. So there's really to me, I've always kind of looked at it, especially from a coach's perspective, and saying that there's, the on-field stuff, but then the off-field stuff just means so much more because those off-field experiences you have are going to mean so much more in the long run because those are really what shape you as well as an individual.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, just going beyond that, right? You're at South Carolina State. You obviously have your favorite opponents to play. You've got your, I guess, least favorite opponents to play. But talk about, that on-field experience at South Carolina. Were there players that you love playing against, or teams that you love playing against, and then teams you didn't really like playing against?
Nah, I enjoy playing against everybody. I'm very competitive, so I like everybody who's good, even though if their team not good, they got somebody on that squad that's gonna be very competitive, and that's what I embrace. So people I enjoy playing like guys like Davies Richard, North Carolina Central quarterback, true dog. He commands the offense. He know how to win, and just going against him makes me up my level of play. Because I want to be great, just as he want to be great. I don't think there's no team like that I didn't like playing. I enjoyed playing everybody. Just the competition. It was just fun.
Yeah, I mean, the competition is definitely something, right? Where it's like you just feed off the competition and the good vibes and the energy and all that. But, getting into who you are as a player, it's interesting, right? Because you growing up, right? There's instances where you may play a certain position in college, but you may not have always played that position. So did you always play O-line, D-line, or did you play other places too when you were growing up?
Nah, when I was growing up, I started playing football around like 7, 6, 7 years old, and I always played running back and linebacker. So I took at DN as well, but
So, you arrive at South Carolina State, and it's interesting because you playing defensive end. They obviously most likely recruited you as a guy who's playing D line. But growing up, did you always play in the trenches, or were there different positions that you had to play dating back to when you first got into organized football?
no. So when I first started football, I was playing running back and migrated to like linebacker as well, like just playing both sides of the ball all the way through high school. Still running back, linebacker. I played a little bit of D line. I was a tight end, played a little bit of quarterback. I played a little bit of receiver, and then I got recruited as a linebacker. So that's where my journey really started. So I started playing linebacker as a freshman in college for like my first 2 years, and then we put in like this little package where I go to DN and pass rush out the edge, and I impressed the coaches. So like they really just made the switch so I could get on the field a whole lot more. And then over time throughout like the last couple of years of college, I put on some weight that would kind of push me on the inside, but I was still able to play the outside as well.
So you are like this versatile chess piece in a sense that you've kind of played all over the place. Do you think that looking at all the different positions you've played and now you're kind of focusing solely on the defensive line that you have developed this ability when you're watching film to basically look at any position and very quickly understand what a guy may be doing and what their tendencies are?
Yes, of course. Like my old defensive coordinator, Jonathan Saxon. One thing we pride on was film watching and picking up on tendencies on every position. So that way we can lock in and zone in on exactly what the offense is supposed to be doing or what gonna give it away every time. And I just took my film watching abilities from looking at it from a linebacker's perspective to a D line perspective, and it just got 10 times easy. Just being able to dissect the play just by looking at the formation.
Yeah, I mean, and that I feel like there's a high level of film study that kind of goes into everything, but on the field, just break down who you are as a prospect. Are you the type of guy, and as a player too, right? Are you the type of guy who's gonna go ahead and rally everybody? Or are you the type who's just like, hey, I'm on the field right now, like let me just focus and kind of go ahead and do my job?
That's who I've been since I was a kid. Uh, I'm very easy going. Everybody, I'm a very likable guy, so I can get everybody rallied up, and I'll get the energy going, party started. If I need to make a play first for everybody to get going, then that's what it need to be. Then and I don't mind doing that. I'm a very dominant player, very physical, very disruptive, and I pride on that. And that's one thing that feeds off on my teammates. Once I start being disruptive and being dominant, then my teammates rally right behind me and start doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely some really good stuff to hear right there. Cause, when you kind of go through any program, the older you get from like your, freshman to sophomore to junior to senior season, kind of what happens is you just eventually develop this like natural, leadership quality. But you talked about, and you alluded to some of your football journey growing up, were there, is there anyone that's had like a massive influence on you in terms of they've kind of, mentioned something to you, sent you a message that to this day has stuck with you?
It's been a few. I come from a high school or like just making it to the NFL in general. And, just a few to name like LeVar Kirkland, BJ Goodson, Marshall McFadden, Michael Hamlin, Jacoby Durant. You know, I actually, been around those guys a lot coming up out of high school. And then I also played with Jacoby Durant in high school. We won a state championship together. And just seeing him and his work ethic and the way he didn't take it for granted. Just watching him work and go get it and be able to get drafted. So just him talking to me and telling me like, you know where we come from, you know the tradition, we go get us, we get it out the mud and we don't take no for an answer. So he told me to just keep your head down, keep working hard because it's gonna come. Being where you from, you know how to go get it, even when it's not handed to you. So that's what I'm doing.
So let me ask you this, because I know Kobe's playing for the LA Rams right now. Do you guys kind of, and since you guys went to high school together and in college together, I mean, are you guys in constant communication in terms of kind of, what you're doing as you get ready to take the next step versus also, what he's doing, kind of how he handled the pre-draft process?
All the time. Me and Jacoby, we talk all the time. We really just talked yesterday. It's crazy. But like I said, he just tells me to, we know what's at stake. Just focus, buckle down, and go get it. Like we said, we is not taking no for an answer.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome because this is, in a game, there's so much about relationship building that quite frankly makes a big difference on the field. But, being a D lineman, your job is not just, hey, plug up the A gap or the B gap, right? Go ahead and generate that interior pressure. There's a lot more that goes into it, right? And there's a lot of technical language, like, the different D line techniques that there are, like 1, 2, 3, 4, all that type of stuff. And then, you got your specific alignments for such as inside shade versus outside shade, all that type of stuff. But, for you, how do you go about reading, offensive tackles and guards and tight ends? Like, what's the process in terms of trying to figure out like what they might do on any given play?
Just like I said, film study. Just and then when I'm out there on the field, I can dissect what they're doing within like their first 10 plays. Just watching how heavy he is on his hand, or watching his feet and how tight they is, how wide they is. Watching the splits. Just little small stuff like helps me dissect everything, whether it's a run or a pass, and that automatically gives me like an extra step to know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, playing in the trenches is not easy at all. But you talked about like a guy being heavy on his hands. What is the difference when he's maybe heavy on his hands versus lighter on his hands? Does that allow you to kind of see, is this going to be a run play versus a pass play, or is that just a natural tendency for a guy?
I just feel like that's a natural tendency for a guy because if he's not heavy on his hand, then I'm not expecting him to come down hard on me, expecting like a run block or something. And if you light on your hands, then obviously you're trying to get your hand up off the ground fast enough to beat my hands. So once I peep that, I already know what's my go-to move, what's my secondary move. Like I figure out a way to beat you before the play even started.
So speaking of the pass rush moves, how many do you have in your arsenal, and is there maybe one that you use over another?
I got a lot. Even though I play inside, you can't use a lot. But coming from the end, I done came up with a whole lot of stuff. I don't work with a lot of people, a lot of different coaches, a lot of different trainers, and I took little smalls and bits and pieces from everybody. But like one of my go-tos is definitely like the stutter bull or like the long arm. Just something smooth on it. The side scissor, something quick to get off. But like I said, I'm very physical and very dominant. So that's just something that I always go to because I know 9 out of 10 is gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, as a lineman, you kind of have your like fundamental pass rush moves that you continue to excel at. And then once you get a lot of the basics down, you master some moves. That's when you can certainly add a lot to your arsenal. But, the Bears are a team where they're known for their defense, right? They're known for their great linebackers. They are known for their defensive linemen. If you could stop a Bears fan right now on the street and ask them to name a random defensive lineman from the last basically 3 decades, they would obviously have someone for you. But what should Bears fans know about you as a football player, but also as a person off the field?
As a football player, like I said, very dominant, very disruptive, very physical. A natural born leader. Someone who's gonna keep the energy going. Who's gonna end drives, turnover machine. Just a natural born dog. A natural football player. Who's very talented, who's very versatile. I could play inside, I could play out. I could drop in coverage because I'm comfortable with doing that as well. But as a person, I'm a very great person. Very family oriented. God fearing. I'm like a social butterfly. I feel like I can get along with anybody. I can fit in with any group. You know, I love community. I love being in the community. I love being around. The younger generation, just helping out when I can help out. Just I love being myself. I don't try to be nobody else. I love being myself, and I feel like that what attracts people towards me.
So you mentioned working with the younger generation and just wanting to go ahead and be around them throughout your time at SC State. I mean, what initiatives have you kind of undertaken in the South Carolina State community to work with younger people? And then, dating back to your days in high school, what's some, community oriented stuff that you did?
Back in high school, I used to help out with the little league teams. Like I'll go out there. I wouldn't say help coach, but like just if the coach wanted me to like explain a drill or show a drill or take a few guys and like talk to them and show them how such and such work as far as the football goes, then that's what I would do. And then in college, we would go read to the middle school kids, the elementary kids. We would do like these trunk or treats during Halloween. Like when it got close to Thanksgiving, we do these turkey drives. Just being around kids and their family, and kids without family. Just making everybody feel like they have a family.
Yeah, I mean, speaking to you, I definitely get the vibe that there's such a sense of community that's instilled in you. But, you talked about being super family oriented, and it's tough being, a coach or just an athlete sometimes because what happens is so many people view you through like one lens and, one prism when in reality there's this completely other part of you that most people may not know about. But just, talk to us about what family means to you in terms of how they helped you throughout your journey.
Family is real important to me. I live in a two-parent household. I have two younger brothers. We always do a lot of stuff together, like game nights. Just going out as a family. And also, I have a 2-year-old son, so like I'm always with him when I'm home. So like, just being around that type of love from like my family just motivated me to be great at everything I do, not just on the field, but like in the classroom. I was able to like graduate, from college, and I was the first in my family to do that. So just them being very supportive of me, pushing me, and me being like the first to do a whole lot, I feel like that's very important because I get to show my brothers and my little cousins and my son also. Like it don't matter how hard it get. Like as long as you push through, and as long as you got a strong support system, you can get through anything.
Yeah, that is some awesome stuff. So you talk about growing up in a household, with two younger brothers. So I'm guessing that you guys were always ultra competitive at everything growing up, from football to anything not related to football.
Of course, like my youngest, well, my middle brother, he's 22, and then my youngest brother, he's 15. So like I'm talking about backyard basketball, football, baseball, like whatever, any type of ball. If we can figure out a game to play, it's gonna get real competitive. It's gonna get physical. It's gonna be some fights. It's gonna be some trash talking, and it's real fun. Like everything we do, like even when we went out, we go out bowling. Like that's our thing. We love bowling, so we go out bowling. We make little friendly bets, like who gonna buy the food, like after who lose, stuff like that. And like that just pushes us, to be better than each other at everything. But at the same time, we still support and love each other.
So I gotta ask you, is bowling your strong suit? I mean, how many times have you kind of had to go ahead and like buy the food, or is that something where your younger two brothers obviously go ahead and have to own up to because you beat them every time?
I ain't never like had an edge, because they athletic too. They do everything, and sometimes I get mad and I be wanting to be the best at everything, but like at some point you got to come to realization.
Yeah, it is, definitely interesting. But, so where you at right now? Last one for me here, but where you at, and how are you training as you get ready for the draft?
Right now I'm in Austin, Texas. Training at RI in Austin, Texas, and just being around these guys. They're helping me get my body right. I done lost some weight. I feel good. I feel healthy. I'm moving like my old self again. Just they getting me right. I'm around a bunch of other guys who's also training for the draft, and just being around them and they competitive nature. It just pushes all of us to be great at everything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome when you're around, like-minded people and just being able to go ahead and, have the same mindset as them. But, before we get out of here, right, where can people kind of follow you over the next couple months throughout your football journey? And do you have a preferred destination for when you eventually do make it to the next level in terms of where you might want to end up?
I feel like wherever I end up, I'm gonna be happy regardless. It's been a lifelong dream to not only just make it to the league, but also play in it and be great at it. But people can follow me on Instagram at two underscores three four LOS, and like you said, my Twitter account is three underscores three four LOS.
Yeah,
That you can
absolutely.
follow my football journey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, you good? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna go ahead and say that you should definitely give Jeblonski a follow. Just because it's some really cool stuff. Like him and I have been texting back and forth. I know that you've met with the Bears at the HBCU Bowl, so they're definitely showing some interest in you. So for this fan base, for us as fans and reporters, like you're a guy that we have to get to know.
Yeah, and I enjoy getting going through this process. Talking to all the scouts and the different teams and all. I just feeling love and all, but at the same time, I know it's a business. I'm just working hard to be in somebody's organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to do it from us. Thanks so much for hopping on here. Be sure to keep in touch over the next couple months, and when you do get to the league as well, like wherever you end up, you're always welcome to come back on the podcast and talk football with us. Cause I know this was more so like an introductory get to know you interview, but if you ever wanted to come on, to talk about whatever, like we would love to have you back on.
I appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, sir.